Hey everyone, how's it going? Delrith here, bringing you another impressions video, this time for the Total War Warhammer 2 expansion, the Warden and the Paunch. Now, I am a huge fan of Total War Warhammer, all the Total War games in general, so when Creative Assembly was nice enough to reach out and toss me an early access key, I decided, hey, I want to do an impressions video on it, you know, one of my first ones, just because I love the series so much, and the fact that they were redoing the orcs really spoke to me. Now, this campaign primarily, well, this expansion primarily adds 2 new lords. You're going to have yourself right here, well, Imric's the 3rd lord, he's an extra add-on. You got yourself Therian here, who is the Warden, and he has access to a really unique mechanic involving a jail and a bunch of upgrades for it and whatnot. They're really neat. Typically his playstyle is exactly the same as all the other high elves, but they did add a couple new units. As you can see here, you got the Silver Guard, you got the War Lions. I don't remember if the War Lions are in there, but you got yourself the Arcane Phoenix. Either way, they added a few new units to the high elves, and he's got a unique situation with it. He is also the direct rival of Grom the Paunch, you know, the other lord added into this for the orcs slash goblins, and they're going to definitely have campaigns that conflict and are entirely revolving around each other. Something about Grom having invaded with some other orc warlord, I can't remember, and then Therian being like, oh man, he's coming back. Now, as far as Grom goes, over yonder, Grom is a thick boy. I think calling him a thick boy is understating just how thick he is. He is a bigger than orc-sized goblin who just has to eat and consume things at all times to basically maintain his happiness. Now, Grom has a few unique things. Primarily, his entire campaign is about running around and collecting ingredients and making new dishes that are absolutely ludicrous in some of the bonuses they give, and boosting the heck out of goblins because he just wants to eat at all times. They've added a good new number of units with this, like the Snotling pump wagons and some different trolls and all that. But overall, the biggest thing to take away from this is that they have redone how the WoW works. Now, I'm going to hop into both campaigns, and I'm going to be well, they're like midway campaigns for both of them that'll allow me to show off some of the mechanics and show you some of the things that they have to offer. And, you know, you can get your impressions from that based on what I show you, whether or not you want to buy the expansion. All right, so as you can see, we have loaded into Grom's campaign, or well, a campaign of Grom, and I am pretty much at war with everything and anything that moves all over the map. Now, Grom starts his ass right here in the middle of Massive Oracle, if you're playing the Mortal Empires campaign, right in the middle of Bretonia, and he has arguably one of the easiest starts in the entire game, and I guess I could say on campaign, to me, he feels like the strongest lord in general. His start is ridiculous. He quickly snowballs out of control, and the way that he buffs goblins is unreal, and I will show you in a second a lot of things, especially like how his tree works. So right now, you can see a lot of his new units. This is the new scrap system that was added, and it basically allows you to upgrade your units with scrap through the tech tree. Oh, that's the diplomacy tree. Through the tech tree with upgrading certain things. So like if you want to upgrade scrap weapons for goblins, you have to get sharper stabbas, upgrade for orcs, heavy metal, so on and so forth. All different things done through the tech tree, but you get the idea of what bonuses they give. So like upgrading for, you know, the night goblins, they'll give them spiky weapons. For goblin archers, you can get 400% more missile piercing damage. You basically get to choose between an offense and defense upgrade for each and every unit, provided you have the technology. Everybody's just attacking me in this campaign. Enemy army, enemy army, enemy army, enemy army, enemy army. Like, it's everywhere. But, like I said, Grom is a unique little boy. He's got himself a lot of interesting things. Primarily the fact that his skill tree is entirely based around eating things and buffing goblins. You've got yourself the Goblin Tide buff of stuff. And he's got a lot of things like Language of the Voice. Either way, it's around buffing goblins and basically just eating dude. That's the theme of his army. Now, one thing I noticed with Grom that a lot of people are going to be happy with is that the Goblin Buffs themselves are a bit ridiculous. To put it into perspective for you, let me open up a place that isn't upgrading. You got yourself your starting Goblin. You know, 25 armor, 50 leaderships, 33 speed, melee attack, etc., etc. But, you know, it's pretty weak. They're poor leadership and extendable. Not with Grom. As you can see, they have 72 armor in his military, and they have 84 leadership. They have a crap ton of other stats, like 52 melee attack. Goblins are bogus for Grom. A lot of this is because of the food buffs, but you know, a good majority of it is from him. And what I mean by the food buffs is this is Groms Cauldron. This is his entirely unique thing that he has only to him from what I know. And this is how his campaign revolves, is running around trying to get these ingredients, to get these buffs, and unlocking various things through doing it. You see you got collected ingredients, you got cooking recipes that you can go through and do, and they're pretty neat. So you use scrap, which is the gain from looting and rioting and burning and blah, 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 throughout doing this for him. You basically run around and kill certain things to get certain ingredients, and they give ludicrous buffs. Like, okay, goldfish, for example. They give 10% income, they give -1 for all recruitment, and they give 8 public order, or obedience as it's called, in every single province, which is insane. So you throw that bad boy in there and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, what is another thing I want? I want my trolls. I want all my goblins to have passive regeneration like they were vampires. You throw that stuff together and you get a meal, you get the surf and turf, you slam that shit down on the table, and then suddenly you've got that buff for your province-wide, and you got your surf and turf at the top of the thing. Now, on top of that, you also have yourself your sweet new WA mechanic. Before, WAs would follow you around and kind of require you to spend an extra turn to get them in one place to be able to do joint attacks, or they'd run off on their own sometimes and be annoying or useless. You could set war coordination, whatever. Either way, they were a bit sluggish and awkward to handle, so what Creative Assembly did was when you hit the WA meter from beating up dudes, you pick an enemy target. In my case, I picked, I don't even remember who these guys are, Corone. And you have 20 turns, I believe, to go there and beat them up, and you'll get a big buff. Basically, depending on how strong the target was when you take their capital. As well, you do get a WA army, and every army in your entire arsenal gets a WA army. And what this does is it essentially attaches a death stack of 20 units to your army, essentially making all your armies 40-unit armies for free. You don't have to pay upkeep for them. And you can understand how this is a little bit absurd. This mechanic is absolutely ridiculous. And it is entirely effective, and it is what makes Grom so strong early on in the game. But I guess the only thing left to do at this point, given, you know, all the other stuff, you do get like random things like hags and stuff with Grom, but you know, all that. Also, this is what I was talking about. Yvres is Therian. Where's he at? And they are extremely aggressive with you and will be attacking your entire campaign. Looking ready to deal with that, but yeah, they're right here. They get their own units and whatnot, but here we go. We'll show you off some of the units for Grom. Now, I'm going to be showing you guys a battle here just to show off some of the new units. I didn't want to get into a really long and drawn-out battle because I still have to show you Therian, but I just wanted to show you what some of the new units look like and what you can look forward to with Grom and some of the new abilities, especially like the Tittle Muncha here, the Fishy Tittle Muncha, who is the river troll hag that you get with Grom, and just give you the ability to really check it out and see what it is for yourselves. So I'm just going to show off a couple of new units here before switching to Therian. Primarily, I'm going to be showing off the Rock, Grom, and the Hag. Also, this is on Ultra, on 2080 Ti. Everything's like maxed out, so you know you got your Ultra detail and stuff. So that's that. So one of the biggest things that you got here is the Rogue Idol. This is the Regiment of Renowned Rogue Idol. This is the biggin. Absolutely ridiculous unit of major proportion. Got yourself the Fishy Tittle Muncher here. You can also do this early on, which is absolutely ridiculous. It'll allow you to win a lot of sieges early on and just crush people. You summon another Rogue Idol. And then, of course, you got yourself Grom over here, who's just going to be chowing down on meat the entire time and just being boisterous overall and having his nipples hang out like that. But, you know, not a lot of stuff to really do other than to send the giant Rogue Idol after him. So we're going to send Grom and the Rogue Idol, who's just going to apparently throw chaos bombs at him. And not much else. So we're going to actually send him in on melee. Grom has a lot of buffs. He has his own custom WA. He's got his big WA. Absolutely insane. Regenerates people, makes goblins ridiculous. More so than anything else. I love him. I love everything about his playstyle. It was incredibly fun. And I don't even think we're going to be able to get him to fight or watch him fight. I think that, yeah, no, they saw it and they were like, no. But you get the idea. Giant melee dude. Just not even going to give him a chance. He's just going to walk at him and they're going to break. Alright, well, you get the idea. Anyway, Grom's units are sick. I don't want to show you too much. But they're pretty fantastic. A lot of new things to look forward to for Grom. But hey, that's how it happens, you know? And now we're going to head over to Therian. Alright, so now we are currently in Therian's Eye of the Vortex, or Eye of the Storm, I don't remember which one it is, campaign, and we got ourselves a pretty far in Therian. We've currently left our starting point away from the Vortex, which is over here. It's Yvres. Come down, you come over here, you conquer a bunch of orcs that show up on your island, you come down here and start beating up Groms forces down here, because your entire campaign deals with Groms' arrival. Now, Therian has a few interesting things, primarily. I have the Sword of Cain right now, don't worry about that. Primarily, he has this thing called Warden Supplies, which you get through capturing prisoners and interrogating them and whatnot. They let you upgrade your citadel and get things like defense and miss levels, which give you huge buffs in your home territories. Lots of interesting things based on things that you do with that. And you can really use this to advantage, and you will need to because Grom shows up with a massive force. Now, the prison. This is Therian's. I'm probably saying that wrong. Let me double check. Yeah, Therian. All right, cool. We'll just triple check. Therian. All right. These elves' names, you never know. This is his unique system. This is rebuilding the prison of Athel Tamarha? Something? Tamara? I don't know. But either way, this is how, this is his special thing. Grom's got the Cauldron. Therian's got his prison. These things let you unlock Mistwalker building chains. Like, you can get these through supplies. You upgrade certain parts. Like, for example, if you were to rebuild this part of the prison, you get Lariel's Blessings, Ladriel's Blessings, and it'll let you get certain units. This will let you recruit new units called the Skyhawks, Sentinels of Astro, etc., etc. You upgrade this through prison things, which you get from different stuff. So, alright, thing about him is when you get into a battle, you have to capture prisoners, and this is what you do when a lord's about to die. You can capture them, you throw them in jail, and you get to do multiple things depending on what you've upgraded. Now, for example, you could do something like indoctrinate them, which would send them back and give you influence next turn, Warden Supply, and 5% of the faction's treasury. You can execute them for 500, experience Therian, influence and Warden Supply, or you could do what's called interrogation once you upgrade over here, I believe. And that'll give you a special bonus to all your blue units, which are your warden units, these special things, based on what you do. So, for example, I interrogated a dark elf. So, up at the top of the screen, if you look at the interrogation dark elves, you get your sweet Mistwalker units receive the following bonus, Murderous Mastery. So, yes, you get a bunch of high elves with bows, with infinite ammo, by the way, because of this. Unending volley for missile units that get the dark elf murderous mastery as high elves, and you can have up to 2 of these things running at a time depending on who you capture, and the bonuses kind of get out of control. Both of the new lords are ridiculously strong in campaign in their own way, and I will do my best to show you what I mean right now. So we are going to go over and attack. Now, you might be wondering, how do you possibly capture units in battle? You get a special, oh hey, I get a military alliance. That's cool. I'm allied with everybody right now. They all love me. You know, I'm a very lovable person. But you basically use an ability called the Warden's Cage. They get thrown in jail. You get to decide what they do to them, but they have to die. No, I don't want a peace treaty. It doesn't make any sense, Grom. But they have to basically die while they're under effect of the spell. They can't move when they're under it. They get minus defense, minus armor, or whatever. Alright, so we've entered a battle with Therian. Not really much of the chance for them to win because he currently has a maxed out Sword of Cain, like I said, but I'll be able to show off the new units and show off, you know, a lot of his new systems, specifically the capture thing and the Murderous Mastery and all that. And luckily we have people volunteering to die, which is really nice because, you know, we kind of needed to get right into the action, and they decided to spawn on my side of the field, which is going to allow us to do that very, very quickly, and I appreciate that fully. Alright, so before we start, I want to show off the new units. You got yourselves a lot of the Mistwalkers. There are a lot of unique units for Therian. You got yourselves the Skyhawks, which are anti-infantry close-range missile hybrids. They're pretty awesome. They can get pretty ridiculous. You got yourself the Spire Guard, or Tori Yvres. I don't know. They're basically like bogus versions of Sea Guard. They're better Sea Guard. And like I said, depending on what you torture and interrogate, you get yourself bonuses from the other factions. So essentially, I have all these units, any of the Mistwalker units, will be able to unlock Murderous Prowess, which is insane for the High Elves. And you can have 2 of these things at once. So keep that in mind. But let's just get right in.
Always ready.
Let's just see if we can capture this man. Let's just imprison this man. Alright, so he's locked in jail. Let's tell literally everybody. And get Therian out of there.
March toward penance. I follow my vow.
Alright, so he's in jail now.
I am called upon.
Basically, if they die underneath the jail effect, you get to keep it. If wounded while ability is active, target character will be imprisoned after battle. So he's in jail now. So knowing that, we could just turn around and finish off these enemies. And of course, tell everybody to be on guard, because I hate having them go anywhere. And no, I don't use the hotkeys. I prefer to manually control everything in battle. But I don't know. They all look good. This game is just so damn pretty. On Ultra and everything like that. It just looks so good. And I just love the way the new units look. I really love Groms' new units. I just kind of love everything about this game in general. And this expansion has been a ton of fun for me. Especially with Grom's campaign. But I've always had a huge like for the High Elves. I've always really enjoyed them. Therian's just going to go in there like a fucking baller and kill everything. He doesn't have the Sword of Cain available right now because he's actually replacing it with a thirsting version of it, which I forgot. But it doesn't matter because we have a bunch of High Elves with bows. And believe it or not, that is a terrifying thing to deal with.
In Moranian's name, onward.
Now, of course, you got your Sea Guards. Let's just murder everything.
Moving out! Death to all! We will obey!
Understood. Serve the king.
They don't stand much of a chance, but you get the idea. Where are the new units? They're right here. These things are so strong. I really want to activate Murderous Prowess, and I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do it. I don't think there's enough of them. But we can sure as hell try.
Northern Sea Guard.
Acknowledged.
Nah, they're going to break before we get to. Bummer.
Loyal.
For duty, as you
Oh
say.
no, we're still going to do it.
Northern Sea Guard.
For all flag.
We're just going to gun them all down, even if we have to.
Without fail.
For duty.
You only get to capture one unit per battle, but you do get the idea. Alright, cool. Murderous Prowess is now activated. It would be activated, provided that we were still in battle. And you would have everybody with the Spire Guard having more Murderous Prowess, and it would be ridiculous. But yeah, overall impressions of the expansion have been super positive. I could totally suggest that if you're a Warhammer, Total War Warhammer fan, that you pick it up. The campaigns are a ton of fun. The new factions are a ton of fun. Imric is a lot of fun too. Imric's got himself the Sweet Dragon quest line where you gotta go conquer a bunch of legendary dragons, do a bunch of fights. He just kind of derps around and does his own thing. And this was just some random place, so I'm not destroy it. But either way, you get the idea. Now, prisoner capture. There we go. Gogrut has been captured. He's been thrown in. He's now an Athel. And he's in here, and we could do stuff like interrogate him. So apparently I could do a wah.
All you have to do is talk.
So sweet. Interrogation Greenskins. I can now wah in battle. Anyway, that's going to be it for me for this Impressions video. Thank you so much for watching. Expansion's totally worth it. Go check it out. Maybe judge it based on your own accord through this video, whether or not you want to get it yourself. But I can recommend it at least. And it's been a ton of fun, and I look forward to playing all the new stuff that comes out in the future. And quite possibly Total War Warhammer 3 when that comes out. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff on that. But anyway, till the next video, this is Delrith, and I'll be seeing ya. Bye!